Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today we are going to take you along for a very fun, very exciting big project here at the nursery. We are standing right at the entrance to the nursery. So if you've already come through the gate and you're coming down the road, obviously the nursery is right behind us and the creek is right behind us. So we call these kind of, I don't know, the entrance beds, the creek beds. And we have been here last year when Jerry and the crew installed a bunch of annuals. Well, we're going to take these beds up a whole nother level this year. You can see behind me that we have already placed some shrubs in the very back of the bed, which really kind of take up the whole existing bed size-wise from last year. And then Jerry came in just, I think it was last week, and added this whole section that we are going to make extend the flower beds and make even bigger. Because we are a nursery, right? We want people to come here and as soon as they hit that gate, they're like, wow, where are we? This is a really cool place. Part of that is creating flower beds that bring a lot of attention to the space and make you feel inspired and like this is a place that I want to come and shop and hang out and learn more about plants. This is why we're going massive on these flower beds. So let's just walk through first of all the shrubs that we have that we're going to put in here. Then we're also going to give you a quick overall view of the irrigation because we are going to put this on irrigation with a bed this size and of this importance. We want to make sure that these are irrigated properly so that they look their best. So we're going to do that. Then Jenny has to go get her hair done today, so I will be gone for a little bit, but Jerry and the crew will have cameras set up to show you all of the work, and then when I come back, then we will go ahead and start planting. This may be a 2-day process because we got to plant, we got to lay the irrigation, we have to mulch. There's a whole lot of things going on. So again, big project, but lots of fun. So without further ado, let's talk about, we're using 3 shrubs in this flower bed. We can kind of hit them all right here because this is a good little pocket for them and the sun is coming up. So that's a good thing to start out with, is that the sun does come up here. So this whole bed will get full sun for the vast majority of the day. It does set over to my left, and then obviously we have a nice tree line right here, so it will get a little bit of a reprieve in the late afternoon. 2 of the shrubs are going to be evergreen. Right here we have got a pocket of 3 of the tea olives. If you have been around Creekside Nursery for any length of time, you know how much I absolutely adore tea olives. Sweet olives, sweet osmanthus. Depending on where you live, the region that you live will depend on what people call it. This is definitely a southern shrub. It is a beautiful evergreen. They will get really to be about 8 to 10 feet tall, 4 feet wide. They respond really well to being pruned, but a great evergreen tree shrub that bugs do not like. But the most wonderful part about tea olives, sweet olives, is that in the fall through early spring they put on these little small white flowers that smell heavenly. I tell people it's kind of like a orange honeysuckle jasmine smell. You smell the shrubs before you see them. It is this most delightful fragrance. So that will give us nice structure and a beautiful fragrance in the fall through the early spring. So we have a pocket of 3 on both ends. We have one here and then we have one down at the end that we'll show you in a minute. Next, we have 5 of the Chindo Sweet Viburnum. Again, a nice, great evergreen shrub that will get some height to it. So it'll get some height and some width to it. It will put on little blooms that do have a nice little fragrance to it. But the main reason that we're using it is because of that gorgeous dark green glossy foliage. Again, pests kind of leave it alone. It's a no fuss plant, which makes a beautiful hedge, and they are fast growers. Both the tea olives and the chindos are fast growers, so they will bulk up very quickly, especially being on irrigation. They will do great, and that's basically just in a line going down the flower bed. And then the star of the show, especially this time of year, is Gibraltar. So Gibraltar is a native azalea, a deciduous azalea. These are obviously, for their color, is just stunning. This is the time of year that they will bloom naturally. We were going to use them in a different project, and so they were hanging out in Jenny's personal shrub lot behind the garden shed, and that project is just taking a while to get going. So when Jerry and I were planning this, I was like, let's use the Gibraltars in this bed because they are blooming this time of season, this time of year. Gorgeous, huge impact. These will end up being, I think, 4 to 6 tall, not quite as wide. I'll put all the specs up there for you. But native azaleas are just, again, they are deciduous, so they are just starting to put on a little bit of leaves. They are great in the partial sun, and then just makes a huge impact. As Jerry kind of pans out, you can see all the way down. So we have the chindos and the Gibraltars, what we call window paned, right? So it's 2 rows, but the Gibraltars are in between the chindos. And then down here on the very end is where we have the other pocket of the tea olives right here. Obviously, we are under this huge, massive tulip poplar. So we will have to, as the years go on and as time goes on, we do have some limbs that are low hanging that kind of come down in front that could block the morning sun. So we'll just have to be aware of that and keep those trimmed up. Now, then this leaves this whole huge pocket ready for annuals. So we are going to have lots of fun here. We're going to do purple fountain grass. Remember from 4-Star when we visited them, they had those huge swaths of purple fountain grass. So we're going to use that. We're going to use lime thyme coleus. We're going to use the Sun Patience compact purple, and then I believe we're using the silver bullet artemisia also. So big, huge blocks of color both on this side and over here on this bed. So let me go show you this other bed right quick. All right, so we are just literally on the other side of the road. And you can see that this bed is more narrow. It is definitely smaller than the other one. Jerry did extend it just a little bit further out, but we're working with some electrical issues right here, right? So everybody probably, you have some sort of utilities that you have to work around. This is what we call the green box. It is for our main, it's the transformer, all the power for the nursery. So we're not going to put shrubs in front of this because who knows, at some point they could have to do work on this, and I don't want to have shrubs here that could get ripped out. So we're going to use the annuals, those same annuals, the purple fountain grass, the lime thyme coleus, and the Sun Patience to disguise and hide this green box. So basically it will come starting from underneath this dogwood, and it will wrap all the way down to thank you, Carolina Sapphire. I never can remember what the name of that tree is. The Carolina Sapphire. And you can see, because remember when we were down here last year, this is when Jerry, they cleaned this out. We're going to have to maintain, right, the woods, right? Because this is, the creek is right here, and you have all that kind of, like these are briars right here, that pesky native weeds coming in. So we will have to keep this maintained so that those guys do not come in here. And there's some vines. There's honeysuckle right now that is blooming. Do what? Oh, poison ivy. Yeah, that's Jerry's favorite. So leaves of 3, let it be, right? So in case you don't know, this is the poison ivy right there. It's also a vine. So that will get taken care of very promptly. Jerry does not react well to poison ivy and is always very aware of where the poison ivy is. So that will be taken care of. Yeah, so big, huge blocks of color here. Now, let's head over to the barn because I want to talk about the irrigation, which is going to be Jerry's wheelhouse, but I'm going to try to explain it to you to the best of my ability. All right, so here we are on the far back right corner of the shrub lot. The barn is just right here. And this is where Jerry has the irrigation main box, right? So this has all the valves in it that control the irrigation for what?
Just for this area.
Just for this area, right. This is not for the whole nursery. This is just for this area. We have multiples of these. So these valves with the irrigation, right, they're hooked up to the, the electricity, right? So then it's hooked up to the timer and they will come on automatically with what we set, right? Just like normal irrigation works. So what he is going to be doing today, this morning, is the main project, is he is going to be trenching a line from this box all the way down the length of the shrub lot, make a 90-degree turn, and then go down along through the wood lines, kind of where the Japanese maples are, and then he'll stop. We're gonna have an access point there with a hose, a pump, I don't know, a spigot, right? So a hose pipe. We're gonna have a hose pipe over there, and then so we'll have access there, and then he will continue on to where the orange cones are. There is a whole set when back in, gosh, it was the winter when he was trenching, remember, for the fiber line for the barn. So when he was doing that, he went ahead and installed the irrigation pipe, so that, because we knew that we were going to be doing this, so that's already laid, so we don't have to cut a trench back across the creek. All those pipes are already laid, and at that point, once he gets across the creek, then that's where we're going to go ahead and hook up the drip tube. So that drip tube is that great brown tubing. It's about what, an inch? It's a 1/2 inch diameter with emitters every 12 inches or so. And that is what, like when I was doing with the spireas and the Incredibles in that bed, that's really what we use in the vast majority of our beds because it's so easy. So we will just hook that up and wind it through so that both the shrubs get it, the annuals get it, and it's just a great way to do large areas without doing overhead. So we'll lay all that down and then you put the mulch on top of it, and then the irrigation disappears and everybody is happy. He will be using a 1/2 inch PVC. Did I say 1/2 inch? I meant 1 inch. I knew it was 1 inch. 1 inch PVC in this main part until he connects all the way down to the end with the drip tube. But you're gonna see that. He's gonna document that whole process for you while I am getting my sparkles covered. And then I will come back and we'll talk some more. But right here is the pipe. So gives you an idea. This is what he's going to be using to go the long distances. And so again, 1 inch, this is the 20 foot long, and this is just standard pipes that they use in home irrigation. It's just what you use for landscape irrigation. So that is what he's going to be using. But sit back, enjoy the show. Y'all get the easy part. You get to watch Jerry work and do all the fun stuff. And then I will see you back here in just a minute, and we're gonna do plantings and we're gonna talk and we're gonna have fun. So I'll see you in just a minute. right, my friends. So it has been quite a fun day. We have gotten all sorts of things done. The shrubs are planted, and we're just going to recap and kind of go over where the day went, because it has been quite an adventure of a day. Of course, we were here together just first thing this morning, and I told you, what was going to happen for the day, and that all pretty much went how it was supposed to go. I was going to go and get my hair done, right? Well, first time this has ever happened, I was on my way over there and going around a little mountain, and there was a forest fire, and the fire truck was in the middle of the road. Sat there for a little bit, and when the third truck arrived, I was like, I am not going to make my hair appointment. So I rescheduled that, turned around, and came back here to the nursery and helped document some of the activity that went on here. So what happened was, of course, we got all the irrigation in. Jerry worked his little heart out and got all of that laid, so everything was connected just like we talked about. We've got beautiful water flowing in all the different areas. So just to recap, we have the water. We have now a spigot that is kind of over my left shoulder on the other side of the creek bank. That way we have access to water over there if we ever need it. So we got that, and he ran that 1-inch line all the way up, connected to the existing pipe that he had. And then they went ahead and connected the brown drip tube right here. You can see at the creek that it is now connected. This is not a snake. This is the brown irrigation tube that runs. And is this the solid tube? This is the solid tube. So there is no water coming down, being emitted. That simply brings it up and then connects to the brown tubing, irrigation tubing, that has the emitters every 12 inches. So if you've never seen this before, it's fantastic. So you see that little tiny hole, that is an emitter. And so they're built into the tubing. So there's one here, and then the next one is here. So this is spaced every 12 inches. You can get them at different intervals. You can get them at 6 inches, you can get them at 18 inches. It just depends on your application as to what is the best drip tube for you to use. So that is connected, and it is running all throughout the shrub area. They got the tea olives planted, the Chindo viburnums, and of course the Gibraltar azaleas. So these guys are in. They were biotoned. They had, Jerry brought in some of the great, we call this the Murray mix. It is a great blend of compost and soil amendments. It has some pine bark in there, all sorts of great things that we can, when they were auging the holes for the shrubs, then this gets mixed in. But the whole bed was covered in this, so if it gets mixed in or top dressed, that is in here. It is just aiding in the overall health and vitality of the soil. So everybody is in, irrigation is run through here, everybody was biotoned, and went ahead and mulched it. Because I told Jerry, I said, it would make more sense to go ahead and get these in and mulched. Then once we have all of our annuals in here, we're not trying to haul mulch back here through the shrubs, or to the shrubs through all the annuals. So that'll hopefully make it a little bit easier. You'll also notice this beautiful edge that Jerry got using the bed edger. That it's called the Easyscape. It is, and has a motor on it. It just works great. It not only cuts a vertical line on the grass, but it also cuts the bed to a slope on the back, and then puts all that extra soil back into the flower bed. So nice hard line. When the mulch comes in, it'll go right up to it, and it'll be easy to maintain this edge for the grass. Gives it a nice, clean, polished look. The plan is tomorrow, so they got all that done. It's the end of the day, haven't had my afternoon coffee yet. So they got all that done, and then our sweet friend Kata from Walter's Garden came, and she brought us lunch, sweet thing. And so we got to hang out with her, and then we got to have some fun playing with mangaves. So of course I documented that, and that is a video, so be sure and pay attention. In the next day or so we will have a video all about mangaves, and if you have no idea what a mangave is, that's all right. That's a little teaser for you to watch the video in the next coming days as Kata and I have some fun together. So she came, we filmed that, and they got all of this done. Everybody's gone home. So the plan is for tomorrow is that we will get the annuals in the ground. Now you'll notice that right now this bed is pretty much in shade. It is, I don't know, 4:30 in the afternoon, and this bed is now in shade, which will help these plants get a little reprieve from that hot afternoon sun. They still get that 5 to 6 hours of that morning sun, so it is considered full sun. So all the annuals will go in here. And then when we were working on this bed, I told Jerry, I was like, you know what would be fun is, first of all, move the farm equipment, so that'll happen, but just to kind of clean up the wood line just a little bit. But what a perfect section to put hydrangeas. So at first I was like, whoa, what about limelights? Maybe a little too wide, because we do have people park here. I think I want to do the quick fire fab. So because the quick fire fab still gets height to them, but they're not as wide. So for a more narrow space right here, I think that would be really pretty. They are panicles, we'll get blooms every year, and just to do a nice little hedge of those right there, I think that'll be really pretty. So tomorrow about this time, Jerry and I will be over here planting the annuals, because work smarter, not harder. Why fight the full sun when you can come later in the afternoon when the sun is gone off of you and you're not dying? So I think we'll do that tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. It's gonna make a huge transformation. But this space already, I mean, do those azaleas just not pop out at you? Are they not fantastic? And you can see them from such a big distance away. And you're like, what are those little orange pops of color down there? So super excited about that. Stay tuned. We will, of course, document the whole process of putting in those annuals and the quick fire fabs and doing the other section of the complementary bed on the other side. We will take you along for that with part 2 of this video. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day. We're gonna go get our afternoon cup of coffee and relax for a little bit. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.